All right, you guys, so we're gonna do a charging comparison test today in this video, a supercharging test comparison between a Tesla Supercharger and an Electrify America level 3 DC fast charging station. Just to give you some more context about this, we're gonna find an Electrify America supercharger that puts out about 350 kilowatts. There is one in Tucson. And then we're going to compare that to a version 3 supercharger of Tesla at 250 kilowatts, which it shouldn't really matter because the Model S Plaid cannot charge faster than 250 kilowatts. So it should be a relatively easy test to compare in that sense. The car won't take more than 250 kilowatts at a Electrify America. And we're going to see how long it takes to charge from 10% to 80%, okay? I think Tesla doesn't really put out an estimate for this. And some of the information I found online says that I think a third-party company or car sales site, I think it was Car and Driver, they said it was about 37 minutes to go from 10 to 90. But we're not going to do 10 to 90. We're going to do 20 to 80. And we're all set. My car is currently sitting at 19% right now. Let me go ahead and show that to you now. Okay, so as you can see here, my car is sitting at 19%. We should be right at 9% when we get to the Electrify America charging station here in my town. I do have to do a quick work appointment that's not far from my house. So we're gonna stop there first and then we'll meet you at Electrify America. And let's see how long it takes to charge from 10 to 80%. We'll see you there. The question is Electrify America going to be faster, or is Tesla's own chargers going to be faster? And we're going to get that information for you today. So let's get to it. I'll meet you there. All right, you guys, I just needed to add one last thing. We're also doing this charging test and comparison test in 113-degree weather in Tucson, Arizona. So this is what it's like having to supercharge in the hottest part of the time of the year. And we'll have to repeat this test in 6 months when we're at our coolest time of the year to see if that actually has an impact on charging times and speeds. So in any case, I just needed to add that in, and we'll see you at the charger. Peace. All right, you guys, I am pulling into the EA charger now, and I got here a little later than I wanted to. It's about 6:48 p.m. right now, so temperatures have gone down just a smidget. It's not 111 degrees outside anymore. It's 108. It's still hot as you know what, but you know, hot is hot. A 3-degree difference probably isn't really going to matter in this generic man's test. So in any case, let's go ahead and pull into the charger, and we'll get set up and we'll start the timer. All right, so it looks like the 350 kilowatt charger here is not working. I'm not going to bother calling EA because there's one more right next to me, but this Ioniq 5N is using it. So, and he's at like 85% state of charge. He's at 85% state of charge. So we'll just wait for him to finish up. Chances are he's charging to 100%. That should probably be less than 10 minutes. So once we're able to plug in and start the charging session, we'll let you know. Peace. All right, so as you can see here, we're at 10%. We're just waiting for that 350 kilowatt charger to free up. But I might be fighting with this Hummer EV here. This Hummer EV just pulled in, and he's clearly looking for the 350 kilowatt charger. But he's pulling into the spot I just pulled into, and we're both waiting. He doesn't know that charger's down. I'm just waiting for this guy to finish his charging session, and then hopefully I can grab that cable before the Hummer EV guy grabs it, because everything else here is 150 kilowatts, right? So see right there, it says 150, and that's pretty much the way it is with the charger here too. See, you can see that one says 150. So the rest of these are 150. There's plenty of 150 kilowatt banks, but there's only two 350 kilowatt plugs here, and one of them is down. So we're gonna wait, and hopefully we can get this done. Again, we're at 109 degrees still, so still pretty scorching outside. It's just a matter of whether or not I can get that 350 plug or not. All right, it also looks like we dropped 1% just sitting here with the air conditioner on, waiting for the charger to free up. But we should be able to plug in now, so let's get plugged in. All right, looks like it's trying to initiate the charge here. Let's see if it'll get going or not. We got a flashing green light here, so we're gonna start the timer on the stopwatch. That flashing green light means that we are charging. Let's take a look in the car. Oh, and the car's estimating 30 minutes, but I've known that to be inaccurate. It also shows us here that we're charging as well, so that's good. And then over there on the screen, it says my name, welcome Anthony. So we are charging. It's 56 cents a kilowatt. It's expensive. It's very expensive, but we're charging, and this is going to be the watch is going to be the actual determining factor here on the accurate time it takes to get to 80%. But our charging limit is set to 80%, and we're gonna actually turn on the air conditioner. I turned it off so we wouldn't drop any more charge, and then we'll watch some YouTube. Beautiful. Got the Tesla stuff going on right here. Actually, before we do that, I think I'm gonna walk and get a drink of water in the outlet because I'm a little thirsty. But we are charging, and we'll check back in with you shortly. All right, so we've been charging for about 15 minutes. We're at 53%. And it's super expensive to charge at Electrify America if you don't have a plan. So we're $22 in already. It's like putting in a regular tank of gasoline. So we'll update you when we hit 80%. Hopefully it's not longer than 10 minutes. As I get back in the car, it's estimating that it'll take 15 more minutes to hit 80%. So let's go back into the charging screen. And as you can see, we're at 55%. And we're only charging at 100 kilowatts right now. I got to talking to the guy in the Hummer EV right there, and let's get you this angle right here. There we go. And so we, I believe we topped out at 250 kilowatts, but I'm not for certain because I got hung up in conversation. But even if we did top out at 250, it was only going to be short-lived. You know, I think you'll hit, like, at 10%, you'll hit 250 kilowatts. But by the time you get to 30, it starts to taper down. So anyways, we'll watch some YouTube. And until it's time to unplug. Let's see, what do we got here? Cyberlift, a real truck. Let's watch this. This will be fun.
What is going on, my friends? I've got a fun one for you today that I hope you
will. That is a super nice Hummer, you guys. My God. All right, you guys. So it looks like we've been charging for 23 minutes. So in my worldview, I think charging should be done. Like cars, you know, it shouldn't take more than 20 minutes to charge from 10% or 0% to 80% at a supercharger of any kind. But it is what it is, and we'll get you these final numbers here in a second. All right, you guys, we're right at 79%. The car's saying it's going to take 5 more minutes to hit that 1%. But what we're going to do now is get out of the car and come over to the EA charging screen. The nice thing about Electrify America is they give you data on the screen. So we've been charging for 31 minutes according to them. I also have 31 minutes on my watch here. Let me just get that thing in focus. So let's sit here and wait for this to hit 80%. And this screen is just blown out. It shouldn't be red like that. It should actually be super clear like that one there. But maybe there's too much heat running through this machine, and the heat it's got a little screen burn in. But we're gonna wait. We're at 79%, so we're just gonna wait for this one last percent to finish. That'd be ridiculous if it actually took a whole 5 minutes to do. And we're done. So let's stop the stopwatch. And it took us 32 minutes and 18 seconds. So let me screenshot that real quick. And that's what we have for now. Let's go ahead and get this thing unplugged. And I'm going to go ahead and cut the camera here. So I need both hands to undo this adapter. And we'll catch up in the car. All right, you guys, we're back at a Tesla Supercharger, and we're ready to record and see how long it takes to go from 10% to 80%. But before I do, I just want to make mention of a couple things. I charged at Electrify America last night, and I didn't get a chance to actually see what the peak charging rate was because I got hung up talking to the guy in the Hummer. But luckily for me, I have the Tesla app, and it does give you feedback in terms of what the peak power is when you're charging. And so I'll post that here, but it looks to be about a 215 kilowatts. So we did not hit 250. I anticipate we're going to do 250 today on this particular charging session. But I just want to show you one more thing because I think it's kind of funny. When I drove home from Electrify America, to my house, I used about 11% of the battery. And then I knew I wanted to do this test today, so I didn't plug in at home. And I left Sentry mode on, I left cabin overheat on, and then I had a bunch of driving around that I had to do today, going to different clients' homes. And so with that being said, let me show you the data here because I think you'll find this kind of interesting. But as you can see here, we're in the trips data log here, and I drove 107 miles since the last charge. And on top of that, I actually only used about 50% of the usable 70% driving. The other 18.3% of the battery usage came from running the air conditioner and cabin overheat, mostly. The Sentry mode only actually used about 2.7%. So running the air conditioner and then keeping the cabin cool when I wasn't in the car took up a majority of the power. So the only other thing I want to make mention of is it's a little bit earlier in the day compared to what it was yesterday. It's about 5:45 right now, and it's about 5 degrees hotter as well. We are going to start this charging at 9% because that's what we started at last night. Remember, we were waiting for the 350 kilowatt charger to open up, And while I was sitting in the car running the air conditioning, we dropped 1%. So we're going to start it right at 9%. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the charging session. And let's see if we hit 250. I'm pretty confident we will because I use the superchargers a lot. The question is whether or not that's going to be enough to actually make the session faster compared to the Electrify America session. So let's get into it. All right, let's go ahead and grab this. And as soon as the logo lights up and starts flashing green, we're going to go ahead and hit the stopwatch. You switch hands so that I can do this freely. Flashing, flashing, flashing. Now we're green. Stopwatch has started. And let's see how long it takes. Let's see what the car says actually. All right. So like last night, it said the same thing last night, about 30 minutes. So let's hang around here for a minute and just see if we get to 250 because we're already over 200. I'm pretty confident we'll hit 250. Also, the battery was a little bit too low. There wasn't enough juice for the car to want to precondition. So we're at 210 now. I'm sure we'll hit 250. But I'll cut the camera and check back in with you when we do, or at least the peak charging speed. All right, you guys, so after about 5 minutes of charging, we peaked at 216 kilowatts, and it's already starting to bring the charging rate down. As you can see, it's starting to drop here at about 28% state of charge after 5 minutes. So in 5 minutes, it went from 10% to 28%. And it topped out at 215 kilowatts. And so there's probably one or two reasons why it's restricting power. And I am going to guess it's because of ambient temperatures. However, there's a possibility that there wasn't enough battery for it to precondition because I never saw that the battery was preconditioning on the way to the charger. So now the question is, how long is it going to take to completely charge to 80%? We're at 30 after only 6 minutes in, so that's pretty quick. It's estimating about another 25 minutes. So we'll check in with you after about 15 minutes like we did when we were at the Supercharger in Electrify America. So we'll check back in with you then. Okay, you guys, we have been charging for about 15 minutes now, and we are at 49% state of charge. And we're getting about 84 kilowatts at the moment. So you'll be able to compare that compared to the Electrify America from last night. And if you remember from last night, we actually had about 53% battery at this point. So it'll be interesting to see what the difference is. It's looking to be minimal at this point, but we'll check back in with you when we're at 80%. All right, you guys, so we're at 66%. The car's saying there's about 8 minutes left. We've been charging for about 25 minutes. And while we're waiting for the car to finish, I just wanted to talk about one thing here. And I'm gonna pan over here to the navigation map and talk a little bit about Tucson, because I live in Tucson, Arizona. And I thought it'd be worthwhile mentioning, since this is the charging video, I just thought I would take the time to use this opportunity and mention there is not enough supercharging infrastructure in Tucson, Arizona, okay? We have 3 what are considered to be superchargers, but if you look, this one up here on Skyline Road, that is actually in an outdoor mall, and that only gives you about 72 kilowatts, okay? Now you have the one that I'm at that has been here. This is the newest one in Tucson, and it is a 250 kilowatt station. But this one over here off of I-10 on South Tucson, because basically it's like there's 2 chargers on I-10 as you're coming and going through Tucson, right? But even that charger is only 150 kilowatts. So when you're at that one, there's a high probability that you're going to have to share power. So I just thought I'd make it worthwhile mentioning that Tucson needs more supercharging infrastructure. Whether it be Tesla or Electrify America or EVgo, I don't think it really matters, because the Electrify America that I was at last night is way up here on Twin Peaks, right here in this premium outlet mall, right? So it's a little bit further on the outskirts of town. That's why the temperatures were a little bit cooler up there, just because it's not as much in the city. There's not as many buildings and black paved roads as there is in where I'm at now. So that probably explains the temperature difference. But yeah, if I had any sort of say or pull, which I don't, I would for sure put one over here on the east side of town, over here by the Park Place Mall. And then I would do another one in the downtown area. So Tesla, if you happen to catch wind of this video and you have any say in terms of where deployment happens for superchargers, we could use your help. Because again, there's Electrify America up here, and then there's an EVgo down here in this area, kind of like by the airport. And that's it, man. Nothing on the east side. There's nothing on the east side of Tucson. And if you compare that to Phoenix, look at this. There are superchargers everywhere in Phoenix. Now, without question, it is a bigger metropolitan area than Tucson is. Tucson is a baby compared to Phoenix. But look at, that's crazy. That is really crazy. That's it for Tucson, you guys. So anyways, I just thought I'd make mention of that really quickly. And we'll try to get this video wrapped up pretty soon. All right, you guys, we're at 79%. The car says there's 1 minute left to finish charging. We're charging at about 60 kilowatts. And it's still 115 degrees outside, so it's super hot. I'm going to go ahead and hold the phone with my left hand so that I can hit the stopwatch and stop the stopwatch. And so we can show you our results. Uh-oh, it's calculating. So it's almost done. Boom, boom, boom. 79%. Come on, baby. Let's finish up so we can stop this stopwatch and determine whether or not the Tesla Supercharger or the Electrify America Supercharger is the faster charger between the two. There we go, 80%. Let's stop the stopwatch. And let's pan over to my wrist and check out the results. So it took 35 minutes to charge from 10% to 80% at the 250 kilowatt Tesla Supercharger. And just to prove to you that it's 250, there you go right there, 250. We only topped out about 215 or 216 kilowatts we topped out at. All right, so there you go. We have our results in. The Electrify America charger was 3 minutes faster than the Tesla Supercharger. And that is just from start to finish. And that's what this video was about. It was not about like convenience or ease of use or anything of that nature. I mean, I was able to tap my phone on the Electrify America charger and get the charging started that way. So, you know, it was like one extra step compared to the Tesla Supercharger. But again, that's not what this video was about. It was about who's faster from start to finish, from 10% to 80%. And our winner, at least with my 2024 Model S Plaid, is going to be Electrify America. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about the results. Let me know if you think I need to redo it because it was a few degrees hotter and about an hour and a half earlier compared to yesterday's. Like, obviously this is not super scientific. This is just your average, owner trying to capture this data for you. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. That's all we have for you in this video. Yeah, let me know what you think. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.